My siblings barred me from their weddings, so I did the same to them. I have 3 older siblings, all married now, growing up. I idolized them, but when it came to their weddings, I wasn't invited to a single one. The excuse child re-weddings, I was 11 when my oldest sister got married, so I could somewhat understand, but my heart broke seeing photos of the day I wasn't allowed to be part of when my brother got married 2 years later. I thought surely this time would be different. I was 13, mature, and well-behaved, yet I didn't even get a mention. My parents brushed it off, saying it's their choice, don't take it personally. But how could I not? By the time my youngest sister married when I was 16, I was beyond hurt. She initially wanted me there, but the rest of the family convinced her to stick with the child-free theme. I wasn't a child anymore, but apparently I didn't count as family either. Years passed. I'm 25 now, and I recently got engaged. When planning my wedding, an idea struck me. Way to heal the years of rejection, I sent out invitations to all my siblings, but marked them adults only, specifically excluding their spouses. When they confronted me furious, I calmly reminded them of their own rules. You set the standard, I said. 2 of them refused to come. The irony, I didn't care. For the first time I felt in control of how I was treated. And honestly, my wedding felt perfect without them. I have 3 older siblings, all married now. And once upon a time, I idolized them. But when it came time for their weddings, I wasn't invited. Not to a single one. The reason? Child-free weddings. When my oldest sister got married, I was 11. Young? Sure, maybe. Old enough to understand, but still heartbroken when I saw the photos. Smiling faces, family moments, memories I wasn't allowed to be part of. Then came my brother's wedding 2 years later. I was 13, mature, respectful. I thought for sure this time I'd be included. But again, nothing. Not even a mention. I asked my parents why. Their answer: it's their choice. Don't take it personally. But how could I not? By the time my youngest sister got married, I was 16, not a child anymore. She initially wanted to invite me, but the rest of the family convinced her to keep the child-free rule. Apparently, I didn't count as a child, but I didn't count as family either. Years passed. I grew up, and I healed mostly. Now I'm 25, engaged, planning my own wedding. And that's when it hit me. A chance not for revenge, but for closure. I sent out invitations to all 3 siblings, adults only, no spouses allowed. Their responses: fury, outrage, confusion. 2 of them refused to come. The third came alone, awkward, unsure. They called me petty. I calmly reminded them, you set the standard. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the forgotten little sister. I felt in control, seen, respected, and honestly, my wedding was perfect. Without them, story 2, I attended the wedding of my son, whom I raised as a single father. But my nameplate said, low-educated fake dad. The bride's highly educated family burst out laughing. But when I tried to leave, my son said, Dad, let's go home. The next day, an unbelievable thing happened at their company. Chapter 1. The Nameplate. I stood at the back of the luxurious ballroom, straightening my ill-fitting suit. It was my son's wedding day, a day I had dreamed about for 2 decades. Ever since his mother walked out and left me to raise him on my own. I worked 2 jobs, fixed toilets during the day, delivered groceries at night. There were times we had no heat in winter, but I never let him go hungry, never missed a parent-teacher meeting. And now here we were, hundreds of guests, chandeliers glowing, champagne flowing, and a 6-tier cake that probably cost more than my monthly salary. I wasn't comfortable in this world. But I was proud until I saw the place card. At the family table, right beneath the golden father of the groom label, was my name, followed by a phrase someone had added in mock cursive with a gold pen. Low-educated fake dad. I blinked. Surely a joke. But then came the laughter from the bride's side. Her father, a retired university dean, snorted with a smug smile. Her mother covered her mouth, failing to suppress a giggle. One of her cousins whispered something to another, and they both looked at me and laughed louder. Heat rose up my neck. I looked around for my son, Jason. He was standing by the dance floor smiling as the photographer snapped pictures of him and his new in-laws. He hadn't seen it. He couldn't have seen it. I quietly turned the nameplate over and tried to sit, but the laughter didn't stop. Then I heard it. "Well, what did you expect?" He fixes pipes, probably didn't even graduate high school." My stomach twisted. I stood up, ready to walk out. But just as I turned to leave, a firm hand grabbed mine. It was Jason. He looked at me, serious, quiet, but with something burning in his eyes. "Dad," he said, "let's go home." I hesitated. "Jason, your wedding." I said, "Let's go home." The music stopped. The DJ froze. Guests turned. He looked at his bride, at her family, and said clearly, "You all just made the biggest mistake of your lives." He didn't explain, didn't yell, just walked out with me into the cold night. And the next day, everything changed. Chapter 2. The Man Behind the Curtain. The ride home was silent, except for the quiet hum of the city night. My son drove, eyes fixed on the road, jaw clenched tight. He hadn't said a word since we left the wedding. Not until we reached the apartment, the same one I had raised him in, the same one I still lived in, even though he now had the means to live far, far better. As I reached to unlock the door, he finally spoke. "You know, Dad, I saw it." I froze. "The nameplate?" "I saw it before you did. I was watching from the side. I was waiting to see what you do." I turned, confused. "Then why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you say something sooner?" He looked at me, eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years. Pain. Because I wanted to know if they'd do it. If they'd really humiliate you, the man who raised me on the most important day of my life. And they did. Jason pulled out his phone, tapped something, and handed it to me. It was a video recorded secretly. The bride's father laughing as he handed the pen to one of the cousins, her mother joking about trailer trash walking among us. And worst of all, Jason's bride herself, nodding. "My real father is the man I'm marrying," she had joked. "That plumber guy. He's just a formality." My heart sank. But Jason, he was calm, ice cold. "Dad, I didn't tell you this before, but I never signed the prenup." Plinked. "You didn't?" He shook his head. "They begged me to." Her father even offered to invest in my startup if I signed it. But I had already built something by then, quietly with a friend, a tech security firm. That's why I kept living simply. I didn't want to draw attention. He paused, then continued. "Last year, we were acquired. Clean deal. I made more money than I ever imagined. Enough to buy and bury their entire family's company if I wanted to. Now I was the one sitting down." Jason's eyes narrowed. They thought they were marrying a trophy, a fool they could mold. But what they didn't realize is that I had my own game in play. And now it's checkmate. I stared at him, stunned. He opened his laptop and began typing furiously. "Tomorrow, they're going to find out who they really tried to humiliate. And when I'm done, the bride's family will wish they never mocked the man who raised me." Chapter 3. The Shareholder Shock. The next morning, Jason was already dressed in a sharp navy suit by the time I walked into the kitchen. Coffee brewed silently behind him. Untouched. "Dad, today, the day they learn who you really are to me. Not some fake dad, but the man who made me who I am." He handed me a folder. Inside, company reports, financials, and ownership documents. The bride's family business, Westbourne Hospitality Group, a chain of luxury hotels and restaurants, was bleeding money quietly. And Jason, he'd been buying up their silent partner shares over the past year through shell companies. Quietly, ruthlessly, I looked up at him. "You already own part of their company," Jason smirked. "Try 48%. And as of 9 a.m. today, I'll control the majority." 9:15 a.m. Westbourne Hospitality, HQ. Jason walked into the glass tower with me beside him. Staff paused mid-call, jaws slightly parted. The same faces from the wedding, now wide-eyed and anxious. The conference room was packed. Her father, Gregory Westbourne, sat at the head of the boardroom table, still smug, still clueless. "What's the meaning of this?" he barked as Jason took a seat. Jason calmly placed a thick file on the table and turned to the board. "Effective today, I control 51% of Westbourne Hospitality Group. Here's the proof. Here's the legal documentation. You can verify with your lawyers." A heavy silence, then murmurs. Gregory reached for the papers with shaky hands. His eyes widened as the realization dawned. You little parasite." Jason didn't flinch. "No, Gregory. I'm the product of the man you all mocked, the plumber you laughed at, the fake dad who worked 14-hour days so I could go to school, who taught me honor, discipline, patience." The boardroom was dead silent. Jason turned to the others. "Let me be clear. I won't dissolve the company yet, but effective immediately. Gregory, your daughter, your wife, and all members of your family are fired. You'll receive your severance packages by mail." Gasps erupted. Gregory lunged forward, veins bulging. "You can't do this. This is my company." Jason's voice didn't rise an inch. It was, "Now it belongs to the man you spit on." Through me. Then he turned, nodded to me, and we walked out together, leaving the Westbournes stunned. Their legacy in ashes. That night, Jason and I sat on the balcony. A quiet sunset, bathing the sky in orange and purple. "You didn't have to do that for me," I said quietly. He smiled. "I didn't do it for you, Dad. I did it because of you. Everything I am, everything I've built is because you believed in me when no one else did." My eyes missed it. "Happy late birthday." He added, "Next year, we'll celebrate it the right way." Chapter 4. One last knock at the door. 2 weeks passed. The news about Westbourne Hospitality's hostile takeover spread like wildfire through local media and industry circles. Headlines ranged from Groomshock's elite in-laws to from plumber's son to power broker. Jason, once mocked, was now being invited to speak at investment forums and leadership panels. As for the bride, Emily, she vanished from social media. Once curated life of champagne brunches and vacation selfies went silent. Rumors swirled that she and her parents were now being sued for misappropriating funds and backdoor dealings in the company. And then, one rainy evening, there was a knock at Jason's door. Emily stood there, drenched from the storm, makeup smeared, clutching a soaked designer handbag. "Jason," her voice cracked. "I made a mistake. I was under pressure. My parents, they always made me feel like you weren't enough. That your dad was beneath us, but I realize now," Jason interrupted, calm and composed. "You realize now that the man you insulted owns the roof you're standing under." She looked past him and saw me sitting on the couch behind. "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry. I was stupid." I raised a hand. "Stop. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how it turned out." She froze. Jason pulled something from his pocket, a small envelope. "Your parents signed this when they were desperate to offload remaining company shares. It's a clause that prevents any of your family members from ever working in or holding shares in any Westbourne-associated business again." He handed it to her. "That includes you." Tears welled in her eyes. "Jason, please, can't we just talk?" He looked at her one last time. You had your moment to talk. You chose mockery over love. You chose public humiliation over respect. Now I choose silence over reconciliation. And he closed the door. Softly but finally. Epilogue, Legacy. 1 year later, Jason launched a scholarship program for students from blue-collar families, naming it after me, the Carter Foundation, at the ceremony. When the mayor shook his hand and asked, "What inspired you?" Jason pointed to me in the front row. That man, the one who was laughed at for fixing toilets. The one who taught me that real worth isn't in bank accounts or degrees. It's in integrity, resilience, and heart. The applause was thunderous. And for the first time in my life, I felt like the richest man in the room. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like the story, share it with someone who needs this energy. And subscribe to Revenge Exposed for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.